Yes, I'm Martha Oliver Sayles from Mesquite, New Mexico.
And I'm Danley Sayles from the same place.
And what got you into the quarter horse business?
I was raised on a good-sized ranch over near Alamogordo in Otero County. My people came to New Mexico in the 1890s and settled in that area. So I was raised on a big ranch there, you might say. And my dad, from the very beginning of the registration of AQHA horses, and then there was a National Quarter Horse Association also, and he started having registered or accumulating registered horses, and we rode good registered horses on that family ranch for nearly 50 years,
Oh, wow.
and etc. So then when Deli and I married, well, we'll go into that later, why we just kind of took up the raising horses.
Oh, great. So how long have you been breeding quarter horses?
Well, when I got out of college, I went home and worked for my dad for 15 years on the ranch. And during that time, Danley and I married. Danley was an agricultural banker at that time, and we lived on the family ranch, and I continued to work for my dad. So I have that background and that history of raising good horses. My dad and we raised the first world champion quarter horse that was in New Mexico, and we owned the sire. Deli and I owned the sire of that horse, which became the first world champion sire in New Mexico. He also was an AQHA champion. So Danley had a mare or so, and we married, and then we just went on. It was kind of all conglomerated together with the family ranch.
And that painting is Mr. Tough McHugh.
Which was a world champion, first world champion sire.
And you still have the same bloodlines?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
They worked for us. And it may offend some people, but we stay within the Skipper W bloodlines, plus or minus there.
Okay, great. Let's see here. About how many horses do you sell each year?
Not as many now as when the economy was better.
Yeah.
But we've been here built this place 41 and a half years ago, and bought 40 acres here. Danley did, of course. We were living on the ranch, and we started the place at this time. That time we built everything that is here, designed it and all. And so we used to run about 15 brood mares to 2 to 3 stallions. We've cut way down now, and of course, and then but we sell between 12 and 15 horses a year, which to some people doesn't sound like a lot, but we run a small hands-on operation.
Yeah, great. And what do you breed your horses for? Are they racing horses or ranch horses? Everything?
They're
Well,
not racing horses.
Not racing
they're not
horses.
racing horses. My dad really liked a horse with a lot of speed, and he and my brothers roped, and my 2 brothers were great calf ropers. And if you all rope, I don't want to offend either one of you, but there's more skill in calf roping than there is in heading and heeling,
Yes.
and all. But we've always raised an athletic horse, but a pretty horse. Pretty horses sell. And then a horse with a tremendously good disposition.
Okay.
And that was one of the things my dad focused on, and that is primary in our operation. That if we raise a mare, hopefully we don't raise a mare with a bad disposition, but we trade for a mare that has the type of bloodlines we want. And if 2 of her colts are bad, that they're mean, they buck, they paw, they kick, she'll go to the sales ring. We're through with her.
Okay.
Somebody else can deal with her.
Great. So what's the perfect quarter horse look like to you guys?
An athletic horse.
Athletic.
An athletic horse. Pretty head,
Yep.
high neck set, short back, long hip, long underline, correct, and all. I said it, and both my husband and I have been AQHA judges for 35, nearly 40 years, I guess. And at some point, AQHA retires you due to age, but I still judge 6 other breeds of horses. But I said in an AQHA judges seminar several years ago, a man got up, who leads a lot of halter horses, got up and he told what the perfect horse looks like. And I said, you know, I did not hear you say, Chip Noss, that that horse has to be athletic. And he said, oh no, Martha, they don't have to be athletic. He said the athletic horse is judged in the afternoon. You're judging the prettiest horse there. To us, they have to be athletic. And so therefore, they make rail horses. We've raised some good English horses. We've raised some good roping horses. A photo around there of a stallion we raised from this horse that went in and won in 7 events for the year, and that included working cow horse, heading, heeling, pleasure, halter, western riding, on down the line. We've raised several world champion reining horses and some world champion trail horses and world champion pleasure horses, but not pleasure horses the way they go in this day and time.
No. What do you mean by that?
If you haven't seen them, why they're camped in, half circle almost, their hind legs aren't driving from the end, their back end, their back's not rounded, they're just all, we call it four-beating. They're maybe loping in the front and they're trotting in the back. Okay. And so we raise a horse that rounds its back, gets its hind end under, and moves in a pretty manner. We want a good flat knee. That's what you look for now.
Okay.
Probably told you more than you wanted to
know. No, that's great. That's perfect. Great answer. Thank you. What specific traits do you look for in a stallion or a mare?
Probably the first thing is disposition, their bloodlines, disposition, and then a balance in a horse. We don't want a horse that's real heavy in the front. They're not good movers, nor do we want one that's slight in the front with both front legs coming out the same hole. And we just want, again, a good athletic, balanced horse. Long, slim neck, long hip, as I said before, short back, long underline.
Yep. How much do you generally spend on feed each year? Or do you grow any alfalfa or hay? Or?
In the early days, when Danley bought the 40 acres here, we grew hay. We had quite some bit permanent pasture, but we found out that we can purchase our hay cheaper than we can raise it.
Okay.
And so hence we sold quite a bit of land. Dollar amount, let's talk about number of bales. We feed the 2-string bales. It's just easier for our health and all. We have a man in the barn, Hispanic man that's been with us over 20 years. It's just easier for all of us, and to do the 2-string bales, and we probably feed, maybe nowadays between 3,000 and 4,000 bales a year.
Oh, wow. And how many horses do you have on this facility now?
Well, right now we're at the lowest point we've ever been, so I kind of hate to say, but
that's all right.
But we probably have about a total of 15 horses here right now.
Okie doke.
And used to run close to 30, 25 to 30.
Oh, okay.
Let me say this: being raised in a horse business is that when the economy is down, you cut your herd. We know people who gather horses, and I was taught, and Danley knows, being a banker, an agriculture banker, that if the business is not flourishing and or the economic situation is bad, you cut the low end. And another thing, in selecting this, it goes back to another question. in selecting brood mares, if a mare consistently raises the tail end of the colt crop every year, the
Right.
cheaper in the cheaper colts, she also goes. Somebody else can raise those cheaper colts.
Okay. Let's see here.
Good questions. You have this all lined out.
Yeah. How do you differentiate yourself from other breeders? Just
What do we?
How do you differentiate yourself from other breeders? I think by the fact that we have stayed within bloodlines, and we have had a type in mind that we wanted to raise.
Okay.
The all-around good athletic horse.
Okay.
We know there was a young couple down near El Paso about the time we started our place, and we ran about 15 mares. They had about 10 or 12, and his idea was to raise a different looking colt all the way around, and that way you had one for every buyer that came along.
Mm-hmm.
No, we want people to come here for our type of horse.
Great. If you don't mind me asking, what's the most you've ever sold a horse for?
I'd rather put it that what have our colts gone ahead and sold for,
Yeah.
because so many years and up until the economy dropped, and we were getting, say, when a foal was 10 or 12 days old, we 2-year-old pleasure futurity at the state fair, and sold her, and we probably sold her for, I believe, $6,500, and then the girl that bought her didn't know how to ride her, and so we resold. They didn't bring it back. We resell a lot of horses for people, but decided she wanted to move the mare. The mare didn't fit her, and a trainer had suggested the mare, and it didn't fit the girl. But then a dairyman bought that mare and rode her about a year and sold her for $12,500.
Oh, wow.
So to us, that's a success story.
Yes, yeah, that's great. So, let's see, kind of covered some of this stuff. Is this a purely family business, or do you have a lot of outside help, or?
Well, basically was family. We have 2 daughters who are both graduates of NMSU. One's bachelor's was in animal science, which we did not encourage her to. My degree is in animal husbandry, back when there was rarely a girl in an animal science class. Rare, very rare. And Danley's degree, of course, is in general agriculture, but one daughter, animal science, the other one kind of, Dr. Catliff was her advisor, and he let her do ag econ / ag journalism / whatever she wanted to do, and then both have their masters. So they grew up on this place, and they showed horses very successfully. And it was a pride to us that they rode horses that we raised. And but nowadays we do have the good man in the barn. We hire college students. I've had as many as, it's not many, but as many as 3 working at one time. And but college students are awfully hard to get them to work and have them responsible.
Yeah.
You may want to cut that out. Tell your professors.
Do you have a horse sale here, or do you take them to auction?
No, we don't have a horse sale as some people do in this valley, but well, what do I say?
Well, we
sell our horses. It's the buyers in here, and then we contact them and that.
Okay.
we stay sold out of horses most of the time.
Yeah.
There are times that we would not even have a 2-year-old left to go ahead and break for the pleasure fraternities, or a 3-year-old that would go on into the reigning fraternity. And so it's repeat customers. We have had, in the past few years, we've had some people from Demi breed a couple of mares, and that family were customers of my dad's way back in the 60s. And so that repeat customer idea is what has kept us in business.
Okay, great.
And, let me say too, we rarely take a horse to a sale.
Yeah.
When we take a horse to a sale, it's going there to be sold. I don't usually use the word, but it ain't coming home,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
It's there to sell.
yeah.
We had a man come, brought us two thoroughbred colts, and we were to get the horses ready to show
Go to a
someone,
sale.
to be in a sale. So he came by and left the horses, came back and picked them up, took them to Lexington, Kentucky, and the bidding on that thing, I don't know, for $4,500.
No, the one mare one was a mare, they wanted 20,000 for her, and she
Yeah.
went up to 19, and they passed her out.
Yeah, and they passed them both out and brought them back here, and took them to California.
They did with them there. So,
I figured, man, well, you got money to spend if they do that.
Kidding.
we condition horses for sales, we condition horses for show, and then we show a few horses for other people
Okay.
here.
Let's see. How many other breeders, quarter horse breeders, do you know in the area? Are there quite a few?
Not very many.
No, so not much competition in the area.
Well, there is, and but there are several breeders up and down the valley, and all. We've been here longer than any of the others, and we know all of them. We consider them all friends.
Mhm.
That's the way one would want to run their business.
Yeah.
You know.
Great. Why did you choose Mesquite to have your horse ranch?
Well,
Why did we choose Mesquite to have our horse?
well, like Martha said, I was in the banking business and everything, and we decided that we wanted a place of our own, and so I went to looking up and down this valley and everything, and I talked to a farmer and asked him if he wanted to sell it, and he did, and so we moved, and that's it.
And it's really sandy soil, which is excellent for a horse business. And you would know a horse farm on south of us, they're really clay dirt, and we can have the same amount of rain, and it shuts them down for nearly a week, and we're shut down a day and a
Okay.
half. So
Yeah.
it's really, and
Great.
down view the valley so very well. Then connected to being in Mesquite, we said, which Danley thought this out, he said, we won't get a post office box in Las Cruces, or at La Mesa or Mesilla Park, because somebody comes through the country and they drive to the post office and say, do you know of Sayles quarter horses? And people say no, so we've always had a post office box one at Mesquite, and so we connected to a town, and that's what we have seen in some of the old breeders around the state that we have known really well and that put their arm around us, is that they were situated. Montoya, Jimmy Randalls, who was a president of the National Cutting Horse Association, a good friend of ours, he always gave the little bitty town of Montoya as his address.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some thinking into that
Yeah.
also.
What's your favorite part of the job? owning a horse farm?
Getting up in the morning and doing the same thing that you did the day before. And that's
Yeah.
what, when I talk to classes and to groups, I say you have to, in the horse business, know that it's repetitious. You do the same thing. Probably if you ask me my very most thing that I like to do, very, is halter break weanlings.
Yeah.
I love to halter break weanlings.
What's your least favorite part of the job?
To laugh. I'm going to say, I hate to say it,
What?
nowadays working with customers.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with people who were not raised rurally and on farms and ranches, and who the horse is their pet, you know.
Yeah.
And but I've had many young people, who college age people, who have worked for us, and they'd say, "Oh, I want a place such as this. I want a place such as this, but I want to do the horses, but I don't want to deal with the people." Well, that's probably more important than dealing with the horses.
Yeah.
And all. But nowadays, you know, you just do everything you can, and hopefully we have a good reputation, but you get to the point with some customers, you can't please everybody. Some customers that you say, "I'll lie down in the driveway, you drive over me. Now are you happy?"
Okay. Have you ever done anything else besides horse breeding to supplement your income?
2 or 3 things is that we were both nationally approved horse show judges. Natalie is retired from judging, but I still judge 6 breeds, and we've judged all over the world. We've judged in England and Norway and Sweden and Denmark, and several times in Germany and Italy and Australia, Canada, Alaska, and so that has been a big part of our income. And then, of course, after Danley had a stroke as a relatively young man, he started contracting as a private contractor with banks, making ranch inspections, farm inspections, and he worked for a number of banks out of state even. They contact him and say, "We have someone who has 150 sections someplace. Would you go count the cattle? Would you assess the management, the range conditions, and that?" So we've done that, and then of course the outside horses we get in to show and to
The trainer that you've done.
Oh, sure, the training and lots of lessons. I still give lots of lessons and enjoy every part of it. I coach a lot of students at shows. We have shown my family has shown horses at the New Mexico State Fair since 1949.
Oh, wow.
I have shown 59 years straight. This year was
That's
my
awesome.
59th year
That's amazing.
to show horses at the state fair. So if you say, "What's your favorite part?" Probably showing at the state fair. I love to
Yeah.
win there.
So out of all the years you've been doing this, what are you most proud of?
I think the good horses that we have raised, and then the fact that we've been able to run a small operation and raise our 2 daughters to be worthwhile individuals. Both of them have taught at universities, and I think that's probably the things. But the world champions we've raised, the AQHA champions that we've raised, and then drop down a little bit, to be very honest, the young people that we have worked with, the college students, who through the many years, and it brings a tear to my eye, the really good college students that we have worked for years, and they still, a number of them still keep in touch with us, or they come through the country and they give us a call, and that's rewarding for us.
That's great. Well, I guess I'm out of questions.
Well, I'll
did a
see, you
great job.
really had it down well,
Thank
Matt.
you. I really appreciate you guys doing this interview for me.